Hello guys and welcome to GameDevArts. Today I'm going to show you how I made this character for my hyper casual game, which is called To The Top or Jumpy. Right now I have changed its name to Jumpy. So let's get started. If you haven't seen the if you haven't seen the trailer, go to part 0 and see what it looks like. So the player is kinematic player body, which is like this. Kinematic, but it's not changed to body character body 2D. So in 4.0 it's called character body 2D, and the main body is this. Motion mode grounded, slide on ceiling off, floor this, max slope 10, and collision I have set it to secondary. And collision mask is 1 and 3. One is floor and third one is fruit. It's got the collision shape 2D, which is capsule 2D. Then it's got animation player, a bunch of animation, basically frame changing of mask dude, which is a sprite 2D or animation. You can also use animation sprite 2D. So a bunch of frames changing. Let me turn off this and show you the animation. For example, in run, I also added the audio, and this is how it looks like. I know the audio is not playing, but it's good. Same thing, I have added all the animation that is required. Wall jump, etc, etc. Then I have created animation tree for state, for finite state machine. Yes, node state machine, which you can add from here. Edit the animation player, base node animation tree, process physics. I set up the nodes, add animation, can add any animation that you want, and then connect it using this, like this, or this is already connected, can create something like this. So this is okay, my bad. This is flow. Basically, when starting it should go to idle, then it should go to run. If the animation is on run, then it can go to hit, jump, fall, or walk jump. Basically, when transferring the animation, when changing the animation, which state should it go through or which state should it flow through is used by the node state machine. So if you are idle, you want to go to walk jump, then it will first go to run and then it will go to walk jump. Yep, it's very useful for uh, animation changing stuff. Basically, it let you change the animation with the correct parameter that you want, and if you don't want the fall animation to go back to the jump animation, then you don't make that flow line. So yeah, this is how my state machine look like, and nothing is connected to the end because there's no end. All right, this is a node 2D, sprite 2D. This is Vegas, one for the side and one for the floor. If Raycast is touching the floor, then that means we can jump, and yeah, it's on floor. And if Raycast touches to the side, that means we need to change the direction of play of the character. Audio, this is another node 2D. Audio, I have created several audio files, audio nodes, several audio nodes, and each audio node has its own unique audio. For example, jump, run, hit, loose, and I also added camera 2D. You can add over here, or you can add to the main world, so it's up to you. If I add over here, it just follows the character. Bunch of settings. For example, I don't want it to go on the left side, so yeah, left side 0. Basically the limit is to 0. Top unlimited, right side this much, bottom this much. Smooth, yeah, it will go on smoothly. Position smoothing, basically one position to other, it will travel smoothly. Bunch of other settings, then you can copy or experiment. Vertical drag, yeah, we want to go up as the character go up, so that's why we are using vertical enabled for the drag. Now let's go to the script. So export annotation is used for you can say the variables that can be changed through the editor. So I'm using export on these 4: gravity, jump, minimum jump, speed. Direction, to check the direction. So one is on positive, that's on right side. Negative one is on left side. Velocity, right now it's 0, but on process we will be adding velocity. Grounded, bunch of booleans: grounded, wall slide, damping, jumped, dead, save time, jump extra. Jump extra is how much we can jump again, how much time we can jump again. On ready, animation, I'm getting animation tree parameter, basically this nodes. All right, then on ready, I'm making the anim travel to run. Basically animation should be run. Slide on ceiling is false, which is already set, but you can also set it through the code. Global reset parameter, basically on getting signal reset, it will then reset the player. I will explain Godot script on the future videos, on upcoming videos, but rest aside. And then I'm resetting player for once. So on resetting the player, I am changing set process input. Basically the input of tapping on Android phone, we tap, we jump to true. Global position to the lowest position, back to the ground position. Speed back to 0, back to the default one. Dead, false, anim called run. So if your animation is already playing and you want to call animation after that animation, then you use call default. Basically it stack up your calls. So physics animation, checking wall slide, checking is grounded. On wall slide, if played on slide is colliding, basically raycast is colliding and jumped equals to true, then wall side equals to true, and jump extra is equal to 1. That means we can jump one more time. Velocity dot y, velocity y, comma 20. That means the going down velocity will be around 20. That means it is slowed down and the character will stick to the wall. Damping is equal to true. If anim, the get current node, is if it's not wall jump, then call the animation wall jump, basically the sliding down animation. Else, if it's not colliding and not jump, wall side equals to false. Basically, if there's no wall slide, then it should be on the default side. Wall side's false. Player node slide dot collision is colliding. If player node dot side collides, basically it collides, then direction becomes -1. It flips, and player node dot scale becomes -1. Basically, the whole side of this thing changes. Let me show you. -1. Now, like this, because it's in the Reka's side and floor is inside the player node, then it also flips because we changed the scale. This is how it works. Again, back to the script. The other one is grounded. Same thing, floor is colliding and it's not dead. Basically, it's grounded. Wall slide, it's not wall sliding, it equals to false. Jump extra, we can jump one more time. And damping false because we are not slowing down. Jumped false because we haven't jumped. And if the current animation node is not run, then it travels to run. Basically, it plays the run animation. If anything is other than this, then grounded equals to false. It becomes false. We are not using this. Okay. Next thing, if int position dot y percentage 160 greater than equals to 8, and in the position dot y 160 is less than equals to 16. So what it means that there are certain floors. Let me also show you the procedure level. Okay, let me show you the block actually. There are this floor. If the character is somewhere between this part, then it shows the current floor. Basically, it adds up the current floor. So if player is somewhere around this part, so the player has reached floor 1. And let me show you. If player again reach up this floor, the second floor, and it's around this part, then it calculates as the floor 2. So it's basically math for adding up the floors, for showing which floor the character is in. Current floor int y plus 1. Basically, the current floor, if the player is in 10th floor plus 1, it will show you the player is on 11th floor. It's showing you the current position of the player. If current floor is greater than top floor reached, it's just for the variable storing. Top floor reached is equal to current floor. It basically is storing up the highest level reached. Now velocity dot y plus equals gravity into delta. It's basically making player goes to the ground. It's acting as a gravity. So it's changing player's y position to the, basically changing y player's position towards the ground, so that player stays on the ground, and it do not floats over to the level or over above the ground. It's making the player stays on the ground. If damping equals to velocity dot x equals to direction into speed slash y. If there is damping, then the velocity of x become this, direction into speed by 2. the half of the direction to speed, as the velocity x equals to direction into speed. So what is damping? Damping is basically if you are in midair and you don't want the player to move uh, a long distance in the on the horizontal axis, the x-axis, then you use damp and you half the velocity x so that player don't move so much on the horizontal axis, horizontal x-axis, left or right, you can say. But if there is no damping, then it can move the direction into speed around on the horizontal axis, and it travels a great distance. Then velocity is becoming velocity. This velocity variable this is the inner coded this is the character body velocity, and it's becoming the variable velocity, and you are using and then we are using move and slide so that player can move according to the character body setup. And then we are again setting the velocity variable to velocity. Basically there are friction, there are other world objects that can stop the character, that can change the physics of the character. So that's why there will be a change in velocity, and then we are setting it back again to the velocity. And what it does, it smoothens up the movement range. Basically there is no bigger gap between two velocities so that it will not look janky, or it will not look like the player jumps from one position to the other position. So here, if velocity dot y is greater than 10 and wall slide is off and the animation is currently fall, anim call for travel dot fall. So if the player is falling, then it will show you the falling animation. Now input. If there's input, basically if there's tap or if you press space, you can say. If on wall slide, if the player is sliding down the wall, then if the current node is not jump, if the current animation is not jump, then player animation jump extra equals to 1 and direction equals to -1. Basically it changes the direction from this. If for example the flow the wall is this, then player will jump toward this over here, and this means player changes the direction. Velocity dot y equals to minus jump, basically subtracting the current velocity so that player will float over the current against the gravity, or jump against the gravity. Play jump audio and play node dot scale dot y. Change the scale of play node to flip the character. Something like this. Now if the player is grounded, then it will just simply jump extra equal to minus equals 1. Basically we can jump we cannot jump we can jump one more time. There's two jump, one is from the ground up and second jump is from the air, you can say air jump. Here is also extra jump equals to 1. Why extra jump equals to 1? Basically if we jump twice and we touches the wall, then we can jump one more time on air. Basically, jump from here to here. Now, if the grounded falls, an extra jump is greater than equal to -1. Is greater than equal to 1. Basically, if we are not grounded, we are in space. Wall slide equals to false, and we are not wall sliding. Then audio jump play. Play one more jump audio. Velocity y equal to minus jump. Jump extra -1. Basically, now the jump is 0. We are done with the air jump. And if the current animation node is not double jump, then play double jump. So it will play the double jump, the rotation animation. Jump is equal to true. Whatever happens, jump will be true because we are jumping, and grounded stays false. If the action is release UI jump, basically if we release UI jump and velocity dot y equals to minus equal to minimum jump, and velocity dot y is less than minus equal jump, then velocity dot y equals to minus equal jump. Basically, if we quickly tap away for the jump, then it jumps on a lower height. So this is what it is. So if we quickly tap, then it will jump less, and if we tap and hold for a little longer, then it will jump more. Same thing, grounded is false, jumped is equal to true. Now the damage. Player also take damage. So at the same time, returns. So there's a thing, if the player hits the spike, and it should stay safe for 1 second or 2 seconds after the damage taken. So this is what it is. If there is safe time, basically it's gone. There's still time for player to resettle and to retake the player control. Then it stays safe for that time and it does not take damage. If not, save time equals to true. Save time becomes true. Animation plays save time. It blinks. The player blinks for the showing the save time. Emit health down. Health down equals to minus equal heart. Basically, there are 3 heart for the player. If it takes the damage, it reduces 1 heart. Animation called deferred hit. It plays hit first, and then it goes to the save time animation. Basically, save time animation can play simultaneously because it's doing this. Save time is doing something like this, so they can play simultaneously. So if global dot heart is less than equals to 0, basically if there is no heart left, set input process equals to false. Basically you cannot tap now and it won't take your input for tapping. Animation dot sus, stop all the animation. Audio play loose. Global emit dead, you are dead. Speed is 0, you stays there. That equals to true. Call deferred animation idle. It goes back to direct animation. And global dot game save. It saves the game. If not health equals to 0, if there is still health left, then it just changes the direction. And velocity dot y equals to jump. It jumps from that animation to that spike or a damage taking object, damage giving object. So it jumps away from the damage giving object. Jump extra becomes -1, and play dot scale changes to -1. Basically it also flips the player. Make save time equal to false. So let me show you what this is. Over here, save time. I have added a function called make safe time false over here. And what it's doing that after the save time animation, which is and the time is 2.4 second, it just makes the save time equals to false. And animation player stop. It also stops the animation player. How I have added this? Basically add track, call method track, select this. Yeah, I have added the function, insert key. Which function do you want to add? Want to add this. See, it's now added to the animation. And there's also called property tag. You can add property tag as well. Jump, insert key, add the property to increase. So animation node is very powerful node that I like using in Godot. So it can do so many stuff, and you can get away with much of the code if you are using animation player. Then last one is rest player that I've already explained you. So that's it for this video. I hope you understand something from my explanation, and I'm hoping to meet you on my next video. Until then, bye bye.